I couldn't tell you why, but I just couldn't bring myself to give up on this body. So I got one more can of the blue paint, and it came out pretty good. Look at that. So I've started putting the polyurethane on it, and putting it on textured stuff like this is quite the adventure. So we'll do some of that in just a moment. Yeah, one thing I discovered already is I can't put a super thick coat of this stuff on this body like I did on that base body, because for some reason on this textured stuff this polyurethane has a tendency to glob up and run in streaks and all kinds of good stuff like that. It's just really weird. So I have to do several very thin coats like this. So this is going to take a while. Then it bunches up anyway. You probably can't see it, but I've got a nice big pool over here and some stuff like that. So we'll let that dry, and then we'll come back, do some more. I do have a spare can because it's clear this is going to take quite a bit. So we'll keep going on it and keep you up to date. So far I have put roughly 375 of them, give or take about 370, and I've decided I like this textured surface. The glitter isn't coming off, the polyurethane has sealed it in and locked in the paint and will protect it from moisture and everything, but it's got kind of a little bit of a rough surface, and I rather like it. I'm going to keep it like this. I'm not going to put enough to make it smooth. I want to leave it like this and give it a try. So let's flip it over and put a few coats on this side. So this stuff is not behaving today. For some reason it's making giganimous foam. Which means I got to be careful where I'm waving it, because I don't need those big foam globs falling on the wood like that. This was not doing this yesterday. I do not know what is going on. I don't know if the nozzle is a little clogged or if it just does this when you get to a certain point in the can. But right now, I'm not terribly happy with it. I have another can, so I think once that layer dries, I'm going to go ahead and switch. And we'll see what comes of it. In any case, yeah, and we don't need you getting into the paint. Come on. Come here, little fella. I don't know if you can see this little bitty spider or not, but yeah. He's trying to crawl into the paint, and that would not be a good thing for him to do. So let's get you on my finger and put you over here somewhere where you won't be bothered. Okay. And yeah, I don't need spider footprints in my work. So let's let that dry, and then we'll come back and do another one. Would you look at my girl? Is that beautiful? I am going to have so much fun playing this. There are flaws, definitely, and I can spot every one of them because, yeah, I put them there. But you know what? I'm calling this good because she looks absolutely stunning. So let's put her back together. I have prepared all the wires that will need soldering here. So, yeah, that one goes in there. To ground the bridge, and then these two go through this hole over here to where the jack goes. So, I guess you could say this is the house that Jack built. No, I am not a bit sorry. The main thing I'm sorry about right now is I can't get the blooming thing in there. Oh, mainly because I'm going to the wrong place. Pretend you didn't hear that. Okay. Those are through. The ground wire did not come out. So, we're ready to set it down. Oh my word. Oh my word. I am in love with this look. This is gorgeous. So, I have a new more power, so we'll use that to put the screws in and save ourselves a lot of time. Obviously, I painted over the holes, but that shouldn't be a big problem. May as well start right here closest to me. Come on, shaky hands. Right in. Okay. I grabbed some longer ones here that are actually for the back, so I'm going to separate those out. What's that, you ask? Is my supervisor on duty today? Well, you tell me. Come on. There, we found it. Okay. It's funny how easy some of them go and how difficult some others go. Go around and tighten them all a little bit. Make sure they're all good and solid. That's a pickup adjustment. Don't want to tighten that. Ron would get very upset if I mess up his setup job. And there we are. Next, we'll be putting the jack in. But before I do that, I'm going to have to solder these wires up to it. I'm going to do that off camera simply because it takes a long time. So, we'll be back. There we go. All right. That part is done. So let's flip it over. Got our ground wire here. Now, we need to put this thing on. it catches the springs. I believe it goes this way. It already has a piece of wire sticking out here, so I'm going to see if I can just solder the two together. This ain't going to work because this thing here just does not want to go where it needs to go. So that means the old one has got to come out. All right. I don't have a handy place to screw this one down, so we'll do it the old-fashioned way, and I'll just hold it. That thing acts like it's about to break off of there. I do not like the looks of this. I may end up doing this a whole different way. But let's see. I really need another hand. Ow! Well, I burned myself, so that should mean it's going to be a successful operation. Okay, here's the issue. This little metal tab here that I'm supposed to solder the wire to, it's moving way too much, and it just broke off, which is what I was expecting to happen. So I'm glad I couldn't solder to it because, yeah, that would have been a very hard problem to find. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the bridge grounding the old-fashioned way. Just like we do when we put a wire under the bridge, I'm going to put this grounding wire behind this spring holder. First, I'll need to get it placed. So we have the screws. We have a whole bunch of little ones sticking to the magnetic screwdriver. Now, there should be a hole right there. As I said. And there should be another one right there. And now we're going to take the wire at some point I'll probably replace this thing so that I can solder this up properly, but for now that'll work. So next step is the bridge. Holes line up perfectly. Got the bolts right here. You behave yourself. Uses 6 screws. one for each string, I guess. Although, I suspect they do it so they get to hear lots of people try to say 6 strings. Or try to say 6 screws, rather. Never mind. I really screwed that one up. There we are. Next step, hook up the springs. That only leaves one thing. The strap nuts. Fooled you, didn't I? One. I do not remember where this one was. And I don't really see a dimple there, so I'm going to guess. And if I end up making a new one, so what? But that's okay, I found it. So never mind. Alright, as I was getting ready to put strings on her, I remembered one other thing I wanted to do, and that is ream out these string holes. You might remember getting the strings out required a little extra effort because these things are just a hair too snug. So, with my handy dandy drill bits, I discovered these are a very tight 3/16. So if I go through it with a regular 3/16, that should do the job. A little canned air to blow the shavings out there. And let's see what kind of fit we've got for these strings. See that? Now it's in, now it's out. Easy string changing. That's all it took. So, now we'll put the back plate back on and put strings on it. This guitar was the first one that I put locking tuners on. And I'll say it again, locking tuners are one of the best guitar inventions ever. I'm locking this one down right now. And all I need is basically one wind, as you can see I've done with the others here. Now, I did discover one thing about these Fender locking tuners that I have on this one, and that is, especially with these lighter strings, if you tighten the lock up a little too much, it'll cut the string. So if you have Fenders or are going to get them, be careful about that. And apparently there was a rough spot in this one because I got a little extra there. Okay, one to go. These strings are the same gauge as the ones that I put on Sherman, which is to say they're 9s with the little heavier bottom strings. So she should sound really interesting. Give me a moment to poke this string through here in my newly reamed out string holes. I cannot tell you how nice that is. And then where are you? Yeah, the other thing about these is finding where you need to poke the string through can sometimes be an adventure, because these holes don't stick up very far. There. Okay. So there's the amount I need. Tighten it up. Tighten up the clamp, that is. And tighten up the string. Wind, 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 wind. And there we are. That took about half as long as it usually does. And it's because of these things. I highly recommend them. I don't care what brand. Check them out and figure out which one is right for you. But again, locking tuners, definitely a major plus. She looks great. She sounds great. Renaissance, you're ready for action.